Welcome to Season 3, Episode 16 of Angela Watson's Truth for Teachers. I'm your host, Angela Watson, and I'm here to speak life, encouragement, and truth into the minds and hearts of educators and get you energized for the week ahead. Today, I'm going to share some more thoughts on how to avoid teacher burnout and give the final 4 keys to loving what you do as an educator. Visit truthforteachers.com to get the transcript, links to recommended resources, and to share your thoughts on the show. So if you're feeling burned out right now, or maybe just a little crispy around the edges, I want this episode to reassure you that your feelings are normal, that you can handle the responsibilities you've been given, no matter how overwhelming they might seem, and most importantly, that the rewards of teaching outweigh the costs. Last week in episode 15, I shared the first 4 keys to helping you rediscover your confidence as a teacher and avoid burnout. Let's continue now with 4 more keys. The 5th key that I'm going to share about in this series is to learn and grow through professional development in all forms. One of the best ways to bring new passion to your teaching is with new teaching ideas. A good professional development day should leave you dying to get back to your classroom to try out all those new ideas. So actively look for PD that will be meaningful for you, like the free ed camps in your area, and seek opportunities to learn and connect with other educators whenever you can. Professional development can also include informal discussions with coworkers. I was feeling really discouraged one night about how my teaching had become overly test-driven, and I felt like my kids were giving up and not putting forth their best effort. I called my coworker, and we came up with a new approach that helped my kids do a total 180. Seriously, go out after work for an appetizer with someone on your grade level team and talk about what's working and what's not. You could even do it during school hours. One year I planned for my team to meet during our lunch break every Wednesday to share best practices. We weren't consistent, but hey, it was a good idea and a little bit's better than nothing. Try to find some kind of system for bouncing ideas off of each other. Find something that works for you. The fact that you're even listening to this says a tremendous amount about your commitment to the profession and your eagerness to learn and grow. Many teachers would never do all of the research that you've done, so count yourself as one of the most ambitious teachers out there, even if you don't feel that way right now. Never discount the value of learning from websites and books and teacher groups online. Those resources have had a bigger impact on my teaching than anything else, hands down. There are a few teachers whose websites have totally revolutionized the way I taught. They inspire me and they keep me excited about what I do. When I was in the classroom, they made me just excited about going back in every single day. Now, one of the best times to do this kind of PD, of course, is during the summer break. If you want to get connected and you want to find new teaching ideas and inspiration, go to thecornerstoneforteachers.com and click Summer Events in the navigation menu. You'll find out about some free online book clubs that I'm offering this summer, as well as information about joining the 40-hour Teacher Workweek Club. The club has over 3,000 teachers who are supporting one another and working smarter, not harder. It's basically a year-long course in productivity hacks, mindset shifts, and just more efficient ways of teaching. And I am having so much fun coaching our club members through it. It really is an incredible community, and I'll be sharing more about it here soon. It's only open to new members twice a year, and our next enrollment period is coming up at the end of June. So think about opportunities like that, the book clubs, and other events that you can join to increase your professional development, get new teaching ideas, and really get yourself fired up about being in the classroom. The 6th key to avoiding burnout is to get a life and take time for yourself outside of work. If you are an overachiever like me, you probably have a tendency to want everything to be perfect and to allow teaching to consume your life. The longer you teach, the easier it will become to manage this predisposition, but you have to set limits for yourself. You have to decide things like, I'm not staying past 4, or I'm only going to allow myself to come in early 3 days a week. This is important not just because you will burn yourself out if you don't do it, but because someone who works all the time is boring. And who wants a boring teacher? You have to have life experiences to bring back into the classroom for your students. When you're modeling how to respond to a writing prompt, you want to have anecdotes about a movie you saw last weekend. During science, you want to be able to ask the kids if they saw the latest museum exhibit and show the photos you took. You want to be able to talk about the incredible novel you're reading and how the author just uses the best imagery or the best figurative language, or how you had to use context clues to figure out a word. You want to be able to play the National Geographic special you saw and you recorded for the kids as part of your unit on land formations or world cultures. Recount how you were having coffee with a friend and had a funny misunderstanding because of the homophones pair and pair. Share with the kids how you actually used the term parallel when you were at a football game on Sunday. All of these little ways of letting kids into your life, let them relate to you and bond with you, but it's only possible if you actually have a life to talk about. So make it a priority to be an interesting, well-rounded person. That will make you a happier and more effective teacher. On to key number 7, reflect on and recognize your own needs as a teacher. Teachers are not computers that can be programmed to all teach the same way and all get the same results every time, no matter what school or government officials dictate. You have to respect your own needs because no one else is going to if you don't. If you are exhausted, take a sick day. Have simple, generic activities prepared for emergencies so that your subplans take 15 minutes to write up and you can sleep in the next day. If you're going through something big emotionally, like a divorce or a family member's death, you're not going to be able to teach like nothing's happening. If you're really sad one day, it's okay to show an educational movie related to your unit of study and have the kids write about what they learned while you get yourself together. You are human. Just as you try to be cognizant of your students' human side and respect their individual needs and limitations, you have to extend that same grace to yourself. You also need to give yourself permission to consider your own professional goals. Don't take on obligations that aren't furthering what you hope to accomplish in your career, or that are far removed from the issues you're passionate about. You have to think long and hard about who you are as a person and what you need in order to thrive as an educator. You see, teaching is not an entirely altruistic profession that you should just stay in forever because you love kids so much. This is your career, and you should pursue it as such. Your needs and your interests matter. Your talents can be used within the school system and outside of it in so many different ways than what you're doing right now. This might be the first and last time someone reminds you of that, so please take it to heart. It took me years to figure this out on my own and have the boldness to recognize that I needed a change and act on it. And that brings us to the final key here, to recognize the need for change and create new challenges for yourself. I just thrive off of change. I'm always looking for something new and different to try, but only when it's change that I initiate and change that I design myself, as opposed to change that is just kind of thrust on me without my input, which naturally I dislike. So every year I create new challenges for myself. One year it was to learn how to run a reader's workshop. Another year my goal was to learn how to teach inquiry science and also how to have more effective parent outreach. Without challenges that I create, I feel stagnant and restless. Now, not everyone is like that, but if you're listening to an article about burnout, you probably need some sort of self-directed challenge that reflects who you are and who you want to become professionally in order to feel more motivated at work. So focus on becoming a lifelong learner and always be ready to try something new. If you just can't shake that burnout or those feelings of just not liking what you do anymore, you need to really analyze what you want. Make a list of your ideal teaching job, the hours, the class size, the extra duties, the role of administrators, and so on. And also make a list of the characteristics of your ideal job, period. As you compare this list of an ideal teaching job and your ideal job in general, take a look at whether teaching is something you could ever be happy doing. Is there enough crossover there on the list? I did this twice when I was ready to leave the field, and I found that being in the classroom was meeting more of my needs than pretty much any other job I could imagine in terms of having fun and flexibility and lots of days off to pursue other interests. Seeing right there in black and white that teaching is an amazing career choice for my personality really boosted my spirits, and it gave me more enthusiasm to keep going when I was worn out. Sometimes the grass looks greener on the other side, and when you really take a close look, you realize that it's not really true. If you want to stay in teaching, but you're unhappy with your current situation, you can switch districts, schools, or even just grade levels. I made a move from pre-K to third grade, and it absolutely saved me. I was so out of patience for cleaning up bathroom accidents and wiping crumbs from tables that I thought I needed to do something else professionally. It turns out I just needed to teach kids who can use the bathroom on their own and feed themselves independently. I recognized these changes in myself and my own preferences, and I allowed them to help me create new challenges. Eventually, I got to the place where the change I wanted was to work with teachers rather than children, and I began doing instructional coaching and educational consulting. You can learn more about that transition in next week's episode about my journey from teacher to teacherpreneur. So I'll tell you that story in a separate episode. But I want to leave you with a motivational quote for the week ahead. You have a takeaway truth this week from Brett Clark, who said, "Embrace the challenges that come at you today. The fact that failure is a possibility simply means that you're trying something significant." Teaching can be an all-consuming job, for sure. But the challenges and the seemingly impossible aspects of it are how you know it's something worth taking on. Things that are truly significant and really worthwhile almost always involve hard work. You can do this. And remember, it's not going to be easy. It's going to be worth it. Truth for Teachers is a proud member of the Education Podcast Network. Podcasts for educators, podcasts by educators. For more great podcast recommendations, go to edupodcastnetwork.com. That's edupodcastnetwork.com.